Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. After our adventures playing, what did we play last week? It was another new debut on the channel. Okay. Now I'm going to look, because now it's going to bother me. I know it wasn't was it a new debut? I think it was. It's bothering me a bit now, so I'm going to see what we played last week. Oh, that's right, five Leagues from the Borderlands. We're debuting another new game on the channel, as this week we're playing Hockey Blast by PLAAY Games. Similar to Strat Hockey, as you can probably guess by the name, it's another hockey simulator. And tonight we're going to the 2021-2022 season, as the Tampa Bay Lightning are at the Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado, to play the Colorado Avalanche. Now, back when I started getting into sports games, this was actually a delivery I got in from Jester, but I didn't do anything with it until just now, because I wasn't really sure about. I was still kind of in that rocky period with hockey where I was starting to figure out what I liked with hockey. And I discovered, through the course of my 2009-10 season replay, it kind of threw me into the hockey fire a little bit. But I discovered that I really like Strat as an engine. Whereas I'm not completely having the same feeling with Hockey Blast so far, even after setting up. I think the problem I have with Hockey Blast coming into it, and I'm going to try not to let myself be biased by this opinion, is it's a highlight-based engine, but it's essentially asking for a full engine-based setup, if that makes sense. So there's a little bit of that what's the word I want? Incongruity or something. It's not matching up. The investment for setup isn't matching. So we're going to see what I want to do with this game in terms of keeping it in my library and adding to it for hockey season replays, or if I want to just end up junking this. So the way this works is most of the time, and I do have the rule book with me, we're going to be using dice. We're going to be using black and white dice. We'll use those as our main dice. If there's a result that calls for a third die, that's what the yellow die is for. Like there are some on here that will call for a third die. So that's what that's for. Anyway, so we'll be rolling. So it's more of a highlight engine, and I'm going to try to walk through this a little bit more slowly because I am still learning. But we're just like with every hockey game, we'll start with a face-off, and I am going to try to play all three periods here. So let's see how this goes. We've got a face-off table here, so we'll be rolling. We'll be using just the black and the white dice for the time being. So let's see what we get here. That is an 11, which means it's waved off. New face-off with new players. So we were using the centers. And, yeah. So we'll go to the right wings next. And hang on. Let me look at the setup here just so I can get everybody lined up. Let's see, stacks of forwards going 1 and 2. So let's make sure we've got both the left and right wings in the same numbered stack. So I'm going to put the left wings in 2 and the right wings in 3. Actually, no, I want the centers in 3. And we'll put the right wing in 1, left wing in 2. That's how we'll do it. And I really don't... These cards being this small is kind of a little bit of a bother as well. But let's go for a face-off. We'll go to left wings next. That is a 4. That'll be the high face-off player wins the draw. So that'll be over to Landeskog, and we're off to start the game. We will start off by rolling in normal minutes. I've got a score sheet off camera. That is a 12. We've got a possible spectacular save. So this is for Colorado. And in order to make a spectacular save, first we probably have to make sure the shot's on target. Let's see. So a choice offensive player launches a shot. Goalie must make a spectacular save. So we'll go to the spectacular save chart. So that will be, they'll give that back to McKinnon. And then we'll roll on the spectacular save chart. That's an 8. And that's a one-timer, and McKinnon will score. And Colorado, just like that, takes a 1-0 lead. Arena cheers. Yay! And now how do we determine who gets assists out of that? Because I assume when you score... Well, we're not going to worry. We're not going to worry about stats here. So there is a goal on the play, which means we'll advance time down to 1 minute. We'll change lines. So now we're on offensive line 2, still defensive pairing 1, which means we'll roll for a new face-off in normal minutes. All right, that is an 11, which means once again we've got new face-off, so we'll go to the left wings next. And Colorado's got momentum coming off of that, I believe. Yep, that is a 7. Face-off won by the high face-off, which is going to go to the home team in event of a tie, so that'll be O'Connor, and we'll have 3 minutes of lull. Which, what lull means is everybody's going to cycle through and nothing's really going to happen. So that'll bring us to a new face-off. And assuming nothing happened, right? Lulls cause a loss of momentum. So Colorado will lose momentum, which means we'll come back to offensive line 2s, defensive pairing 1s. That's a 10 in normal minutes. High face-off player wins the draw. That'll be over to point for Tampa Bay, and we'll roll in normal minutes once again. Let's see, that is a 10. So we're checking a turnover. If any defender has the square, which we've got the defensemen who have it, so that'll affect a turnover, and that is double 5, so we also get a breakaway play, which is probably a different set of charts. Maybe it's not, actually. So how do we get to breakaway plays? Here we go, page 13. Don't change lines. We use all-stars on breakaways. Okay, so simply reroll on the play chart with the goalie's team now on offense. So no new minutes, but we reroll with Colorado now on offense. That is a 7. That'll turn into a lull. One, two, three. So now we're into the 8th minute of the second period, but the first period, but we'll start with another face-off. That is a 12. High face-off wins the result, but an unusual result. So that will actually be point who wins the draw, and an unusual result. So we'll roll again for the unusual result. That's a 10. Which is behavior. So now we go to the behavior chart. Behavior issues. So now we're going to roll this APA style. So we use black as the 10s, white as the 1s, and the yellow is there in case we need it for something. 46. Visitor aggressor delivers a savage blindside blow to choice home player. Home player knocked out for the rest of the game. Visitor player given match conduct suspended for an additional 6 games. That's not going to matter. So we've got a vicious hit. So that's visitor aggressor. Does anybody have the aggressor trait, or how do we tell? Let's see. Is there a way it tells us anything about aggressor? Okay, does not look like it here. I would assume it was a trait, so I'm going to go with looks like just anybody. So we'll determine who gets the aggressor penalty. Actually, we'll use the 6 for that. That is D3, which will be the, which I guess we'll make Hedman. Hedman. Wait, that's not a circle, is it? No. So we'll say Hedman. Actually, we're going to just ignore that one. We'll call that a really nasty hit. And then do we roll again on... Then I think we roll again on... We'll roll again with Tampa Bay on offense. Right? Yeah. Alright, that's a 12, which means we've got another spectacular save. And that'll be point with it. He's going to try to get a spectacular goal. Kemper's got to make a spectacular save. That's a 10, and he will score. So that is point. Scores for Tampa Bay and ties the game at 1 apiece. Arena groans. Ugh. We'll change lines. So now we're at offensive pairing, and Tampa Bay gets momentum. So we're at line 3, pairing 2. Yes. So we've got another face-off coming. That's a 5. Visitor wins the face-off with immediate play. So that'll be Paul who wins the face-off, and we've got an immediate play, which will be the line of the puck. So 6 is going 0-3, 0-2, 0-1. So that'll be 1.5 stars. Actually, they'll use assist, which will be 1 star. And then that shot will go from Hagel on net. So the way we have to roll for that is we need both dice. So to roll for the shot, we need the white and black die. The white die has to be... Let's see, the black die... Need to roll... Has a power rating of 3 stars. So this has got a power rating of 1 star, which means we need to roll a 1 on the black die for the shot to have a chance. The white die is to see if Kemper can stop it. He's at play, so it would have to be a 3 or more. It would have to be more than 3, I believe, to be assured of him stopping the shot. So it looks like they both have to be in range. So the power rating, we need a roll of less than the power rating to have a chance to stop it, and then less than the save rating to be assured of stopping the shot. So this needs to be a 1-3. This needs to be 1. This needs to be under 3, a 3 or under to score the goal. Which that is a 1, so the shot was on. That is a 1, so the shot was on target. But a 5 means Kemper will get that. Will make that save, and he will give that to. So if it makes a save, who does it go to? Still a chance for add the numbers you just rolled. So that's a 6 to check for a rebound. Which, how do we check for that? Okay. Read from the goalie save chart and do what it tells you. So the goalie saves 6. Okay, goalie kicks it wide, the puck is loose. 0-1 gets a rebound, he shoots. So that is Hagel, 2 stars. Once again, 2 or less on the black die, 3 or less on the white die to be on target. That's a 6, so the shot is very much not on target. And then we roll again on the save chart. Oop, that was I think that was an 11. Goalie knocks it down, makes it through the seam, so a breakaway play, which means now Colorado's on offense. With an 11, that's a possible play chart. If a team has 2 squares, they create a turnover, but they don't. So no effect, roll again. Actually, change lines and advance clock. Otherwise, offense creates a play. So that'll be for Colorado, which means they'll roll on the play chart. That's a 4, 0-1, 0-3, 0-4. So 0-1, 3, 4 is Murray. He will take the shot. So assist, 1 star. That'll be 1 star. Elliott's got a play save rating of a 3. That's a 2, so the shot's off target. A 3, though, deflected toward the corner. 2 squares on offense controls the puck. 2 squares on offense controls the puck. That is actually 2 squares on defense, I believe, controls the puck, right? Yes, 2 squares on defense, that's nobody. Otherwise 0-4 gets the rebound and lets it loose. So that'll be a 0, actually. So 11. Goalie knocks it down, makes a pass through the seam, breakaway play. Wait, how do we end up with the... So how does this end up getting stopped? Okay, looks like we've got to call for advancing time. So what did we say? An 11, goalie knocks it down, makes a pass through the seam. So Tampa Bay is now on offense with a breakaway play of their own. 8 is an ice blast, and I actually needed the yellow die for this one. That's a 3, so we're looking for power. Roll dice to determine quality. Count number of player who has it. Same tiebreaker procedure. So we're looking at power. 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3 for Tampa Bay to 1, 2 for Colorado, which means Tampa Bay will have control of that. So power. So power on that. Looking at the ice blast play. Okay. Represents team versus team. Okay, then the scoring chance would be denied. Okay, one team, so a scoring chance, which means Tampa Bay now has a chance to try to score. That's a 10, 0-4, 0-1, 0-2. 4, 1, 2, because they have momentum, we can use the 2. So that's going to be a 1-3 on the shot for Fortier. That's a 6-5. Kemper will make that save. An 11, he'll knock it down. How do we even advance time on this? Rather than recreate every nuance. Okay, is it... So I'm trying to figure out how we... Will it tell us to advance the... Well, it'll probably... It tells us when to advance time, but this is kind of bothering me a bit, that it seems like it's so hard to trigger a time advance in this game. I don't know, this feels like it's getting on my... This is getting on my nerves a little bit now. From the same play sequence. Okay, so where were we? Oh, yes. An 11, we were looking at a shot sequence. That's right, 0-1. So 0-1, 3, 5. So that'll be a 1-star shot. Okay, so, right. That'll be a 1-star shot for Bogosian. 1-3. All right, that is a 6, so the shot is very much off target. But, so the shot is very much off target. That's a 9. Goalie absorbs the shot with the body. Puck drops in the corner for a new line. So I believe that cross symbol seems like it's advanced time. At least I hope to God it is. So at least that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to assume it advances time. So now we should be on line 4s. All right, so rolling for a new play, it looks like. That is a 6, and the 6 is Zoom, close-up of a one-on-one player matchup. Okay. All right, so we're checking on hit. So who are we? So Zoom close-up camera shot of one-on-one player matchup. If offensive player wins, existing dice determine players. Black die determines home player, white determines visitor. So, right, yeah, black die determines home. Okay, so 4 is Murray for Colorado. 4 is Byram for Colorado. 2 is Martin for Tampa Bay, and we're checking hit. So who's got hit? They both have it, but because Tampa Bay's got momentum, they win. So they get a roll on the play chart. That is an 8. That'll be 0-2. That'll be 0-2, 0-1, 0-3. So 1 star. So it'll be a 1-3 shot on Kemper. That is a 5-4. So that shot will be very much off target. But a 9, goalie will absorb the shot with a body. And then we'll change lines again. Right, so and then we'll roll again. All right, that is a 6, so we're zooming in again. 3-3, and this time we're checking speed. So 3-3, and we're checking speed. They both have it. So that's McKinnon for Colorado, Stamkos for Tampa Bay. They both have it. Because of momentum, Tampa Bay wins, so they get a roll on the play chart. That is a 2, so they'll go 0-2, 0-3, 0-5. So 2-3, because they have momentum, they can use the white stars. And 5. Holy cow, that's a big shot. So that's going to be a 6-3. All right, that's a 4-4, which I believe we established that. Okay. So a 4-4 says that's going to be a potential goal. Still a chance for a goalie to make a spectacular save. So Kemper will try a spectacular save. That's a 5. Blistering shot, score! Stamkos puts that in for Tampa Bay, and the Lightning will take a 2-1 lead. We'll change lines again, and we'll bring the teams back to center ice. All right, for another face-off. That is an 8 on the face-off. Home wins the face-off. So that'll be over to Kadri for Colorado. So Kadri will roll on the chart. 10. Uh-oh. That's a turnover. If any defender has the square, and they do, that'll be turned over. Change of possession, so Tampa Bay will have it, and we've got a breakaway play. So a breakaway play says, I believe the breakaway we established was roll again on... Okay, if any player, the turnover is created, make a notation of the turnover. Now it takes over with a new offensive minute sequence. Okay, so the breakaway should have been a new sequence. All right, that's a 7, so now we've got a lull. Which means Tampa Bay ends their momentum. And now we come back for a new face-off. All right, that is a 9 on the face-off. Home wins the face-off and an immediate play. So Colorado's got it, and we'll roll for an immediate play. That is a 5, 0-3, 0-1 choice. So that'll go Kadri to O'Connor, and they'll give that to Makar. So 2, 3, and Elliott's a play save of is a 4, as is a 3. So 3-3. That's a 1-4, and that's actually a possible spectacular save for Elliott that needs to be made. That's a 6 on the spectacular save. Score! And that is Makar putting that in the net for the Avalanche to tie this game at 2. Okay, we'll change out the lines once again. So now we're on line 3s. All right. Actually, let's do it like this. I'll organize these a little bit better. All right, so Colorado now gets momentum after tying this game at 2. So we'll roll for a new face-off with line 3s out. That is a 5. Visitor wins the face-off. Immediate play. So Tampa Bay with it. We'll see what play they're rolling. That's a 7. So that'll be secondary play, which means we'll roll again. That's a 7 on secondary. 0-3, 0-4, 0-5. So 3, 4, 5. So that'll be down to a 1 for Bogosian, a 1-3. That's a 1-1. That is on target for Kemper. He's got to try to make a spectacular save. That's a 10. Score! As Zach Bogosian gives the Lightning a 3-2 lead here. All right, we'll change out the lines. We'll bring the teams in for a face-off. So Tampa Bay now takes momentum back. And we'll roll for a fresh face-off. That is a 6. Visitor wins the face-off. So that'll be Tampa Bay line 4 with it. And we'll roll for a new play sequence. That's a 10. Uh-oh. Possible turnover. Does anybody have a square? No, they don't. So, otherwise creates a play, so roll again on the play chart. That's a 6. So that'll be 0-3, 0-2, 0-1. So 3, 2, 1. That'll be a 2-3 shot. That's a 5-3. Shot is off target. So we've got a possible rebound. At least I was expecting the rebound. I think I must have been expecting... Oh, so that was an 8. Read from the goalie save chart. So 8. Stick save made. Goalie drops it behind the puck for the new line. So we'll change out lines. Colorado will have it, and we'll roll for a new play. That is an 11. So we've got to play. If the defensive team has 2 squares, and they do, create a turnover, change lines, and advance the clock. So we'll change out lines. Tampa Bay will have it, and we'll roll again for a new play sequence. That is a 9. whichever team has momentum. No timing, no advance. Okay. So whichever team has momentum retains the puck. Okay. So momentum, no line change, no timing advance. If no team has momentum, check the hit. Okay, so Tampa Bay just keeps possession of the puck, and it looks like we roll again with no time change. That is an 8, which is a nice blast, and we're checking on Star. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 for Colorado. So Colorado will actually have the... So does Colorado take the puck? Is that how that works? As with a 6. Okay, if the... Alright, so yeah, that'll be... IB, Star... Colorado wins that. So they'll take the puck away. Does that create a new... Okay, so both players... So if both teams have it... so it looks like the... Denies the scoring chance and gains momentum. Well, actually, the momentum change doesn't happen for the... Right. Doesn't happen when you're checking Star. So it looks like we change lines and roll again? Okay, so scoring chance would be denied. I'm still not completely clear how time advances. Presumably it's going to say in the chart, but that's kind of bothering me now. It's making me really not want to use this game. Maybe it's here on the quick reference and I'm just missing it. Gain momentum. I really wish there was like a flow chart or something to explain how this game works. Let me see if there's something on the Geek. Because this is kind of driving me nuts now. I feel like with hockey, I've got to be fairly picky about the games I get here. Let's see, Hockey Blast. Player 8, I think that's going to be this again. Yep. That's this again, which is not very helpful. Okay, so breakaways actually roll play on offense with the team with momentum. Still not really explaining how... I'm just going to presume that it's going to be a change of lines and a new offensive sequence. That's what I'm going to go with here, because that's the only thing that makes sense to me. 11 is a possible play if the defense team has 2 squares, which they don't. So Colorado will get a scoring chance off of that. And an 11 will go 0-1-3-5. So 1, 3, 5. That'll be a shot of 1. Elliott with a save rating of 3. That's a 2-3, so that'll be off the mark. And if it's completely off the mark, I believe I've been assuming just rebound. Shot on target. Big 4-4. Okay, so yeah, it looks like we roll for a rebound. That's an 11. Goalie knocks it. Actually, that should have been a 9. Goalie absorbs the puck, drops it for a new line. So Tampa Bay with it now. We'll roll for a new play. That's a 10, which is a turnover if any defender has the square, which nobody does for Colorado. So that will be a... If no symbol, then no effect, roll again. And no double 5, so no breakaway to worry about there. 7 is going to be a lull. And that'll bring us to the end of the first period, where Tampa Bay came out firing in this one. They lead 3-2. But I think that's where I'm going to call this video of Hockey Blast. You guys could probably hear, as you were watching, that I was getting fairly confused on how this worked. And I think, I don't know, just something wasn't really gelling with me with Hockey Blast. Maybe I need to spend more time with this one. I do like the idea of the heavier narrative aspect in this game, where you really rely on the different player traits, where you rely on the different player traits. And I also do have second season I want to try out as well. But Hockey Blast so far just not seeming like a hit as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know if I'm going to do anything more with this one on the channel. I'm definitely not going to use it as part of a replay, because the problem is I'm not completely clear on how time advances, because the problem I'm running into is if it's tied completely into the chart, where the chart is like, where you only advance if the chart tells you to, then you're going to end up with some long periods. And just in this playthrough, the first period for this game took me about the time it would take me to roll an entire game of Strat, which is not something I want to see in an engine that I want to use for a replay moving forward. So yeah, you guys can probably tell that I'm not having fun with this one. This one's probably going to hit. I think this one's probably going to hit the trade bin. But let's wrap this one up. Speaking of Strat Hockey, that'll be bringing us back together tomorrow night, as we'll be up at the Prudential Center in Rutherford, New Jersey, for Game 3 in the 2009-10 Eastern Conference Final, where the Atlanta Thrashers will be playing the New Jersey Devils. That series is tied at a game apiece. Saturday, Mystical Munchies will continue, probably as an afternoon upload, out of the official Elder Scrolls Cookbook, as we make the entree, Companions Meatball Bake. Sunday morning, the fall campaign will continue in B-17 Flying Fortress Leader by DVG. As for Wednesday next week, we will have an old favorite on the channel as we play Terra Mystica by Fuhrland Spiel. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications to get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.